Hello everybody. This video is going to explain how to cut and fold your skimmer. So you will need your skimmer design, which you should have kind of finished drawing everything out. You should have finished adding color to it if that's what you were wishing to do. This is my skimmer. I'm calling it the Hurricane. I don't know, I just kind of came up with that idea. But we're going to go through how to cut it and then how to fold it. So you will need your skimmer, you will need scissors, a ruler, and then either a sharp pencil or a pen of some sort. Okay, so those are all the supplies you will need for this. Oh, and tape and glue you will also need. So let me make sure I have those supplies. Alright, so I have my tape and my glue. Okay, so these are the supplies that you will need kind of as you go. The first thing we're going to do is we are simply going to cut our shape out. Remember, the solid lines are the ones that we want to cut. So the first one I'm going to cut is the outside of my main body here. So I'm just going to kind of start down here at this end. It's a good idea to maybe kind of leave that line that we drew. So I'm going to cut right along the edge of it so that it looks like this. I'm going to cut off the end here. I think that makes it easier to cut. I can set that to the side. And then I'm going to keep kind of cutting this way. Turn and cut it this way. Alright, so I have my main body cut out. And then I'm going to cut these two solid lines here. Remember, we're not cutting them all the way across. We're just cutting that little 3-inch section. So I'm going to go ahead and cut right along there, making sure I stop right where I'm supposed to. Cut on the other side too. Like that. Okay. So I cut those lines, and basically this piece here is kind of movable. Okay, we're not going to fold any lines yet, so we'll do that in a little bit. I'm going to set this piece to the side, and then we're going to cut out our fins and our air scoop. Again, you're just kind of cutting the solid lines. Go ahead and do that now. And follow with me, or kind of cut your own if you know exactly what lines to cut. Okay, you want to make sure you cut carefully, because once you cut, it's hard to put it back together. So that's my first fin. I'm going to do my air scoop next. That way. Cutting all the way across the top here. Okay, and then cutting down here. Make sure you cut the solid lines and not the dotted lines. Okay, so that one's done. And I'm going to cut this last fin out. So I have my two fins, my air scoop, and then my main body all cut. So once you're done cutting everything out, the next step is to do the folding. And the trick with folding, because it's kind of hard, this is thick paper, to get that folded well. So we're going to do what's called score the edges. And I'll show on the air scoop first, because I think that'll be a little bit easier to show you. So if I take my ruler, and I'm going to line my ruler up with that dotted line. So you want the dotted line kind of right to the edge here. Let me zoom in so you can see it a little bit more. Okay, so I have my ruler kind of right there with the edge. And then I'm simply going to take my pen, and I'm choosing a pen over a pencil because you can kind of press down a little bit harder. And then with your pen, I'm just going to kind of go back and forth, kind of right over it. Now, you might be pressing kind of hard and the ink might not be coming out of your pen, and that's okay. We're not really doing this for the line. We're just doing it to kind of press in on the paper. So you can kind of see the line's not perfect, but that's actually okay. I'm not worried about the ink. I'm going to do the other side as well before I do the folding, so you can kind of see what happens. So here again, I just kind of take my pen and I kind of rock it back and forth over those dots, or where that dotted line is. Just kind of back and forth, because we just want to get it. So what you'll notice now, so when I go to try to fold this, let me zoom out a little bit. is, and I'm going to kind of do it this way because then I can fold towards you, but basically the paper just like easily folds because we scored that corner there. Okay, it would not have easily folded like that if we hadn't scored it. And you'll notice it has like a really sharp corner versus being kind of rounded. Okay, so that's what scoring does. So I can do that on this side. Just kind of easily fold that up. And if it's still kind of difficult to fold, you can always go back and kind of rescore that line. I don't need to fold it down too much because we actually want those ends to kind of stick up like you see here. But that's how we kind of fold the air scoop. So let's go ahead and score on our main body piece as well. So we scored here and folded. So now I'm going to do the same thing here with these dotted lines. Make sure you remember you have 3 of them. So we have the dotted line here, the dotted line here, and the dotted line here. So I'm going to do these 2 side ones first, and then I'll do this one here. So I'm going to line up that ruler. Now this is a much longer dotted line, but it's the same thing. Hold your ruler down tight. I'm going to start on the edge and just kind of rock my pen back and forth, kind of pressing down somewhat hard so it kind of pushes into the paper. Okay, maybe kind of go back the other way. Okay, I like to score all of the lines first and fold last, because if you start to fold while you're still scoring, it might make other lines difficult to score. Okay, so we're going to start here. Rock that pen, push down hard. You can kind of feel the pen kind of digging into the paper a little tiny bit. Okay, back that way. Okay, and then last but not least, I'm going to make sure I do this dotted line right here. Start at the edge, kind of rock it back and forth. That one there, cool. All right, so once we've scored all of our edges, again, I think it's easier to kind of like put the paper upside down and then kind of fold up. Okay, you just want to, you don't have to fold it all the way down flat, but we kind of fold it up. You can see how now it's kind of up on its edge. That's exactly what we want. You also notice that I get a nice straight fold all the way. I'm going to do this other side here. I've already scored it. I can kind of fold it up. Nice straight edge. Okay. And then this last one here, I'm just going to kind of give it a little bit of a fold so it kind of comes up like that. Okay, so that one doesn't have to go up a lot. It's actually going to kind of fold down like that, and we're going to attach that in a little bit. All right, so at this point, I have scored and folded my air scoop and my main body. And then the fins, there's no scoring or folding. These are just kind of flat and colored. So the next thing we're going to do is let's attach our different items first. Okay, and think about what I want to do. So let's go ahead and we're going to use tape, okay, to kind of attach this little side piece here with this scoop at the right angle. So we folded that because we want, okay, it's up high here, but we want it down on this end. So if I kind of show you here, I can pull this one out of the way. Okay, you want that angled down. That's why we folded it there. So what we're going to do is we want to kind of attach these ones here like this. So I'm going to take a piece of tape, okay, and please don't be wasteful with the tape. You don't need a lot. I kind of just picked kind of a piece. You can kind of see it's about not even the length of my finger. So how I like to do this is I like to kind of slide this out of the way, and I'm going to put the tape half onto this piece and then half off. So what that kind of looks like is I'm just going to kind of turn it this way, I think. And we're going to kind of get that tape half onto that slanted piece and half off. And then what we can do from here is I'm going to kind of fold that tape up, and then I'm going to basically put that piece in place so it's kind of standing up, put my hand here, and then kind of smooth that tape and that side together. Okay, so you're kind of having the tape go kind of in the corner there, so it's 90 degrees, and it's kind of here and there. So if it feels a little wobbly, you can do a second piece. Just be careful, it does get a little tricky sometimes. Maybe you want to kind of fold that piece of tape in half so the sticky sides are out, and kind of get it down into that corner and attached on the bottom and here on the side. So it's kind of tricky to do, but basically we're trying to get this. So this side is movable. I haven't taped it yet. This side can't peel away. Okay, so it's just basically that is angled down, taped together right there. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, so if that was kind of confusing, just watch again. Okay, the piece doesn't have to be too terribly long. I'm going to kind of move the side piece out of the way, put the tape so it's about half on this piece, and you can kind of see part of it's off over here. I'm going to kind of fold that tape back, push this back into place, and then kind of get it taped right where I want it. I'm going to do kind of a small piece again to kind of make sure it's sealed all the way through. Don't need a very big one. This time I'm going to kind of fold it so that it's not sticking together, it's sticking to my fingers still. And then I'm going to kind of just squeeze that into this corner here, smooth the bottom of it down, smooth, and I might have to kind of fold it over the top here. Okay, so again, that kind of this piece is angled down. Oh, I should have had you do that. If your name wasn't on it before, make sure your name is. You can always write it later. But I have that kind of taped together now. Okay, those sides are stuck here to this. This piece is angled. Okay, you can kind of see that angle here, how it comes down. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to glue our fins on. All right, so to glue the fins on, and hopefully depending on how you colored it, you know what the top is, what the bottom is. So my bottom is definitely these blue ones. So I'm just going to kind of flip the fin over on the back side, and I'm going to add some glue along the bottom here. So just along the bottom, not the entire fin, or else you're going to have a sticky mess. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of put a decent amount of glue here along the bottom. You want to make sure it does have a good layer so that it does actually stick. I highly recommend doing just one fin at a time. And then I'm going to glue that. Okay, one thing you want to make sure line up kind of the bottom of your fin with that extra piece. Got glue on my fingers. And then kind of the fin along the back side. Okay, and a big thing here is you just kind of want to hold this once you get the glue on. Okay, hold it tight so that it has time to kind of dry together. There should be no rush when you're trying to build this. Okay, so I'm going to glue that here. Make sure it's attached. You can also kind of pinch it from the bottom here. But you'll see it's kind of lined up here and then lined up here. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I'm on the back side of my fin. I'm going to make sure I get a good layer of glue right here. Okay, don't glue the entire thing, just along the bottom, but make sure you get a good amount of glue on there so that it sticks. About a ½ inch tall. Okay, let's get that lined up. Okay, you can see here I'm going to really kind of line it up as I bring it in. Okay, along the bottom, along that corner. Okay, hold it tight so it has time to kind of dry. Kind of adhere to each other, kind of pinching it together from there. Okay, so it looks like that. Good. Alright, so those are my fins. Okay. Now we need to attach our air scoop next. Okay, so we folded our air scoop so those sides fold down. This is definitely kind of the harder one to glue in, I would say. But I want to point out, so the skinny side here, this is going to be the front, and this is the back. Okay, so the skinny side is the front, the wider side is the back. I'm going to recommend doing one side at a time. So I'm just going to go through, just like we just did on the fin, make sure you get a good amount of glue just here on this side folded piece. You want to make sure you get enough on there so that it sticks. I've had a lot of the air fins kind of fall off. So I got a good amount on there. And then I'm going to flip my skimmer over, so we're on the bottom side here. Again, the skinny side's the front, the wide side's the back, and we want to line it up right with the front of our skimmer. Okay, and I'm going to kind of, this one's kind of hard, but you definitely want to make sure that you hold the side flat and hold it there for a while because you want to make sure it dries and actually sticks. Okay, if you start moving it around before you really give it time to dry, it will fall off. Okay, and this is also why we're doing one side at a time so that you can kind of hold this side to let it dry. And we'll wait maybe 10 more seconds or so, and then we'll do the other side. Okay, hopefully so far this video hasn't been too confusing. I know it's kind of hard to watch sometimes. Alright, so that was 10 seconds. Now I am going to go to the other side. Okay, so now you're going to do this carefully. So this side over here I've glued, so I need to do glue on this side. So I'm just going to gently kind of hold this here and then add the glue on the edge of that air scoop. Okay, make sure you get plenty on there. Again, you don't want any pieces to falling off when you're launching your skimmer. Okay, so just kind of back and forth. Okay, you'll note there's no big chunks or anything, but I've gone back and forth. It's covered. Okay, again, make sure you kind of press in on the side so that the air scoop and the side are definitely kind of having time to attach to each other. So I'm going to kind of just squeeze it here for a little bit. I might have to adjust it a little bit. It looks like I got it a little far forward. Okay, but really make sure you're kind of pushing those together. If you have to push down on your air scoop a little bit, that's fine. You can kind of see like I'm pushing down with my thumb here and then just trying to push in on the edge here. Okay, don't rush it. Give it plenty of time. You want to let it dry. Okay, so I think that's probably pretty good. So a couple of views, you can see how we kind of have it attached here. That's the air scoop. It wasn't on the bottom. We attached it up as high as we could in here. Okay, I've got those fins attached with this kind of slanted piece right here. So the last thing we have to do, which I forgot to include in the supplies that we need, is we need to attach our paper clip. So I forgot this at the beginning, but you will need a paper clip for this next part. Okay, and the easiest that I kind of find this is that you kind of want to go kind of right in the middle of your skimmer here, you know, so kind of eyeball side to side, kind of front to back, and I'm just going to maybe put a little dot right there. As long as you're far enough back, you'll be out of the way of your air scoop down here. So I'm just going to put a dot, and then you actually with a pen, so I'm going to kind of hold it like this. I put my fingers apart on the bottom, and then I'm basically attempting to try to poke a hole between my fingers from this side. So I'm just going to use my pen, and I'm just going to kind of twist my pen back and forth. And if you have a sharp enough pen, eventually it's going to kind of break its way through the paper. It might take a little bit, but kind of keep twisting, pressing, and then it just popped through. So I just have that little hole there, which is perfect. With your paper clip, we don't want to pull the whole thing apart. All we're actually going to do is we're going to take this outside most piece of it, and I'm just going to kind of twist it, okay, so that it kind of looks like this. Okay, so I kind of twisted it and pulled it out like that, and then you're simply just going to take the piece right here and you're just going to push it down in and through that hole. Okay, you want the paper clip laying kind of flat up top here, and you'll see it kind of pokes through and it makes a hook right down here. And then we're just going to put a couple pieces of tape to hold that in place. Okay, so I might kind of do a piece kind of diagonal across that way, and another piece diagonal going that way, and then really kind of secure it down. And then I have kind of a little bit open here, so I might put a small third piece kind of going this way. Okay, so you really kind of want to make sure that's attached down tight so that the paper clip doesn't pull out when you go to launch it. If you need help with that paper clip stuff, don't be afraid to wait, and I can help you add that in. But now the rubber band will be able to hook around that, and then you'll be able to launch it. So that is how you build your skimmer. Hopefully your build went okay. Let me know if you have any questions.